This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
So it's going to get back with you. They're going to do this. They haven't. Nobody has.
After close to a decade of frustration, a man reaches out to RTV6 for an explanation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. That man says his front yard is washing away, and he's asking the city to help.
RTV6's Graham Hunter is finding out what it would take to get the problem fixed.
Curtis Morton is worried about what's missing from his front yard and what's being left behind as a result. He says every time it rains, his yard fills up with water because it has nowhere to go and no way to get there.
There's no place for the water from the road to go.
For 8 years, Morton has been dealing with flooding in his front yard.
You can see how the road comes downhill, but there's no drainage.
He says rain pools and washes away the soil.
Grass won't grow there.
He's worried the problem could get worse.
It's killing my tree because it's going to get root rot.
A spokesman from DPW confirms the lack of stormwater infrastructure in front of Morton's home on Cold Spring Road, something you can see here on the city's online map Indy tool.
The road tilts, there's no drainage, so when it tilts, all the water from the road, when it rains, it comes this way.
Leading to scenes like this.
Have ball-winged ducks floating around in your yard.
And when the water stagnates,
it's like now, you would have mosquitoes in there. It's common sense, it's decency.
The irony for Morton is less than a block from his home, there is a drain, but there's no way for the water that collects in his yard to get there.
It could connect to this storm drain here.
From this drain here to your house, how far are we talking?
I'll say, roughly about, maybe 40 yards, if it's that many.
A spokesman for DPW says drainage in front of Morton's home is considered of average priority, saying in a statement, when DPW has funding for a project of this priority level, we intend to pursue a capital improvement project to address drainage issues in the public right-of-way at this location.
You love the city, you support the city, but their priority is wrong.
That DPW spokesman says they look at how many people are affected by a drainage issue and if additional drainage would remove water from roadways, and tells me there's no way to predict when a fix might come. For more information on how you can learn about the drainage system set up in the area where you live or somewhere you may be thinking about moving or buying within the city, head over to the RTV6 app and click on the link for this story. Reporting from the near north side, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
Let's get a first look now at your Storm Team 6 forecast, and it was a warm one out there today.
Yeah, toasty this afternoon. We had heat index values around 90. I'm sure you guys felt it out there at the
track,
Speedway. Yeah, and as we go into the weekend, we're going to keep that heat building here. We made it to 86 this afternoon. That makes it the hottest so far of 2019. Of course, we're not even into summer, so we are going to continue to heat things up. But even tonight, we've got temperatures well into the 70s, still almost 80 degrees for you in Bloomington. It's 71 in Kokomo and 75 in Indy. Satellite radar, very quiet across central Indiana. We look back to the west. There are some thunderstorms in Missouri. Don't think we're going to have to worry about those, but the rain chances are going to rise here as we go through the weekend. And yes, on Sunday, that is the highest chance for rain, but I think it's going to be all about the timing. If you are heading off to the parade tomorrow morning, we're dry but warm with temperatures in the 80s.
And heat was the big weather issue on race day last year. It won't be as hot this year, but that related illness could still be a problem.
That's right. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is prepared for that. There are cooling stations with mist spraying fans for visitors who feel overheated. And of course, you can get treated at the track hospital for more serious ailments. Medics say if you are drinking alcohol while watching the race, you should also be drinking plenty of water and Gatorade.
You have to replenish your electrolytes, and just drinking water doesn't do that, so you really need to have Gatorade or Powerade to replenish the stuff that you're taking out with drinking alcohol.
Last year, temperatures topped 90 degrees on race day. The track hospital treated more than 200 people for heat-related illnesses. This year's Indy 500 security plan includes 30 canines from the Department of Homeland Security, the most ever. The bomb-sniffing dogs will inspect vehicles. Officials in orange vests will help drivers through the process.
We'll have them shut their vehicles off so the dogs don't get burned or somebody forgets to put it in park. Nobody will get run over. So safety's the primary thing we want them to be concerned about.
The extra security will take extra time, so remember to leave early.
Remember to plan for heavy traffic as well before you head to the track. For routes to get you to and from IMS, information about closures and parking, go to theindychannel.com or the RTV6 app. And our race weekend coverage continues tonight. Still ahead, what to expect from tomorrow's 500 Festival Parade. A look back at the history of the Borg-Warner Trophy, a big change made 36 years ago, and a wild finish on Carb Day.
RTV6 is getting answers for a Greenwood homeowner who is fed up with a cable line strewn through her yard. Stephanie Coe says the orange cable snakes through her yard and extends hundreds of feet connecting to another neighborhood. She says the cable has been exposed on the ground for several months, and she's called several times to get information.
I called for 2 straight weeks trying to get somebody to come out here, and they just kept telling me they were going to get with the scheduling crew and somebody would call me back. Never heard back from anybody and haven't seen anyone.
After RTV6 reached out to Comcast about the situation, the company sent a crew to the house. A spokesperson says the cable is a temporary line related to an infrastructure improvement project. He says Comcast is working to fix it as quickly as possible. We'll continue to follow up until that happens.
Criminals tried to target a Navy veteran with a common phone scam. Instead of giving them information, he did this.
So you hung up the phone and you contacted Call 6 Investigates.
Yes, I did.
Scammers are stealing phone numbers of local businesses to trick you into answering the phone. It's called neighbor spoofing. Richard Rosado saw St. Francis Vet calling, so he thought it was a local business. Instead, the caller tried to get his personal info, posing as a credit card consolidation service. The number actually belongs to St. Francis Vet Hospital in Canby. Now, the business is also a victim of this neighbor spoofing scam.
Can you see how people will fall for this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, I could have easily fallen for it if I had any kind of card debt or anything, you know, credit card. You know, I might want to be interested in it, you know, and find out. But no, I wasn't going to take the bait.
You can protect yourself by asking your phone company what technology they offer to address neighbor spoofing. Also, don't answer the call. If it's a legitimate business, you can call them back. Metro Police are asking for help finding a missing Indianapolis woman who may be in danger. Investigators say 44-year-old Lindsay Leosi had not been seen since May 11th when she left her home on Audubon Road in Irvington, and she may need medical assistance. If you have information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. And the search for a 4-year-old boy swept away in a flooded creek will stretch into a 3rd day. Owen Jones, who you see here, went under the water at Riley Park in Delphi yesterday afternoon. The search effort includes boats, sonar, and a drone. Saturday will mark 1 year since a student at Noblesville West Middle School opened fire, injuring teacher Jason Seaman and student Ella Whistler. In the days following the shooting, heroism and the school safety plan were credited for saving countless lives. The school tells RTV6 in a statement that the community continues to heal. And as one student tells us, many children at the school that day are still dealing with the trauma.
It's just changed so many lives, like the people who were in the room when it happened. I feel bad for them because they've got to remember like walking over Ella on the ground, and that's just awful, and that's scarring them for life.
Nate Gregory also tells RTV6 teachers are much more protective of students now. He says he is not worried about his safety. And the Noblesville shooting led to changes in school safety throughout Indiana. We will share some of those changes Monday on RTV6. Also on the RTV6 app and all of your streaming devices, see how that day led to heroic acts and safety changes in Noblesville schools. On the RTV6 channel, we'll also have a full statement from the Noblesville School District.
Helping small businesses get on track, the support that's helping make dreams like Speedway indoor karting become a reality.
If you have a problem and have nowhere else to turn to RTV6. Working for you, here's what happened after you reached out to us for help.
Drivers who use a downtown Indianapolis parking garage want to know why the elevators are frequently out of order and why repair crews aren't fixing them.
I would say at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Circle Center Mall operates the elevators in the structure, so we reached out to them. They tell us they weren't aware of both elevators being out of order, even though we found the signs there today.
And we already have an update to report on the elevators. The mall tells RTV6 one of the 2 on the State House side of the building are working again. Repairs are currently in progress for the elevator next to it. That work should be done in a few
few weeks.
The woman had nowhere to turn and called RTV6.
And she says that because of where a utility company buried a cable line, she hasn't been able to replace her damaged mailbox.
I've hired a mailbox company to replace it. It's on order, and they said they won't do anything, though, until I get the cable moved.
So I reached out to Comcast myself today. Crews came by to check it out, and they tell me they're now going to move the line 2 feet back from the mailbox for Marlene, and will have this problem fixed within 48 hours.
It took a call from RTV6 or Comcast to respond. And new today, the line has been moved, and this woman is now on the path to getting her mail once again.
That's why the bananas look so good at Meijer.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
In honor of Race Week, Hiring Hoosiers goes to Speedway tonight, where Speedway Indoor Karting and 1911 Grill is thriving. The business was IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher's dream. Loans from the Small Business Administration help make that dream come true. SBA loans are available to anyone who wants to start a business.
It wasn't just an easy drop in the hat, here's your money, let's go. So I think that in itself can be inspiring to people who don't have funds, who don't have a background, who don't have a, fortunate family who can help them get a business started, that it is possible to create something that if you dream big enough.
You can learn more about the SBA loan program options at hiringhoosiers.com. And tomorrow will be another big day on this race weekend.
500 Festival Parade activities start at 11:45 in downtown Indianapolis. This year's parade includes 14 floats, 14 marching bands, celebrity guests, and all 33 IndyCar drivers in the 500. Many downtown streets will be closed for the parade, some starting as early as 7 a.m.
Beer, hot dogs, and measles vaccines all were available at IMS today while fans enjoyed Carb Day. As the country deals with the worst measles outbreak in decades, there are concerns about it spreading at large events. That's why the Track Hospital offered vaccines. The risk of getting measles is low for most people, but the disease is highly contagious.
Because we realize there will be people here, like out in the snake pit, where there's people in their 20s, year-olds who are kind of packed in fairly tightly, and those, frankly, are kind of the demographics of folks that may not have been vaccinated.
IMS only offered measles vaccines today, but under a recent health order, you can get the vaccine at local pharmacies. Carb Day wrapped up with the sweet sounds of Foreigner. The classic rock band headlined this year's concert, and the fun continues at Legends Day tomorrow. Clay and Anderson will perform, followed by Carly Pierce and Zach Brown Band. A lot of fun.
Concert was packed there today.
It was packed.
Yeah, a lot of people, and
they got good weather though for the concert.
They did. After starting off with some rain this morning,
soggy mess.
Woken you up, and we're hoping that we can get that window in on Sunday.
Right,
and
so
of
the
course,
race can happen.
Yeah, tomorrow's looking pretty good, but we do have some storm chances really throughout the upcoming weekend here. Temperatures right now with the quiet conditions are still running well into the 70s, 74 in Bedford, 72 in Tipton and Muncie at 76 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start off the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. So not a whole lot of cooling happening tonight, but it will be a dry start to our Saturday. So we're not going to have any thunderstorms waking us up. However, we head into the afternoon, and those thunderstorm chances are back in the forecast as temperatures return to the 80s, and we'll have a bit of a southwest breeze tomorrow, 10 to 20 miles per hour. That will help to boost those temperatures, but we're still going to have the humidity. So much like today, that heat index right around 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon in Columbus, 81 for your high in Lafayette. Here's a look at TrueCast, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Things are fairly quiet. Once we get to around 3 o'clock, that's when we'll start to see in the heating of the day some of these thunderstorms popping up, and some of them could be on the strong to severe side. That line will make its way to the south as we go through the afternoon and evening. And this is tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Notice what starts to take shape off to the northwest and dive south. So overnight Saturday into Sunday morning, thunderstorm activity is expected here, possibly some heavy rainfall. As we get to 6 a.m. on Sunday, more showers and storms lining up there from around Logansport into Crawfordsville and Veedersburg. By 8:30 in the morning, near to just north of the track, and of course that could waver a little bit. Both Saturday and Sunday, about a marginal risk of some of those strong to severe storms, a slight risk tomorrow afternoon from Kokomo into Muncie and Anderson, primarily for some gusty winds. Here's another look at TrueCast as we get to mid-morning on Sunday, having the bulk of the rain to the north. We get into the early afternoon. May not be bad to start off the race, but then look at those rain chances increasing as we go through our Sunday afternoon, and it could be fairly widespread once it gets started. 7-day planning forecast for you. The rain activity on Sunday will hold temperatures back to around 80 degrees for that afternoon high. Memorial Day, rain chances drop a little bit, 30% with a high of 84. And then after a steamy day on Tuesday, rain chances will actually knock those temperatures to more comfortable levels, highs in the 70s to round out the week.
Thanks, Kyle. It's been called one of the most coveted prizes in the world of sports. The Borg-Warner Trophy is kept most of the year at the Indy Motor Speedway Museum, but you can find it at events all over the place during the month of May.
And for almost 3 decades, beginning in 1953, one man was responsible for escorting the trophy around the city and keeping it safe. In tonight's trip through the RTV6 archives, we take you to 1983 and a big change for the Borg-Warner Trophy.
Is similar to your physical makeup internally.
Jack McKenzie, now a biology teacher at Lawrence North High School, was a student at Butler University when he heard that the Speedway was looking for someone to be the trophy's caretaker during the month of May. Take it to all 500 events. McKenzie, who had grown up in Mooresville, was a race fan anyway, and besides, it would help cover some costs as he prepared for a teaching career. The revenue was minimal, $75 the first year, but he wasn't really in it for the money. He loved all the activity. The pay grew gradually, but the number of activities involving the trophy multiplied many times with the birth of the festival. McKenzie transported the trophy around in the back seat of his car, concealed by an army blanket. He also has stored up memories about each trip to Victory Lane, the first one on a very hot day.
The trophy had sat out in the sun all day, and it got extremely hot, and by the time I got down there, I was soaking wet, clear down to my underwear, you might say.
That also was the year he lived in a fraternity house and kept the trophy in his room. One night he came back from a date and to his horror found it missing.
Couldn't find it and looked all over the house and finally found it down in the basement with a bunch of fellows around it. And they were drinking something out of it, and they wouldn't tell me what it was, but I think we know, being a bunch of college students.
In 1957, Sam Hanks won, then announced his retirement as a driver.
It was the first time that I'd ever seen a race car driver cry. And as a youngster, I never thought these men had any feelings or anything. I thought they were all just like big bulldogs.
Well, Jack McKenzie made his last Victory Lane appearance with the Borg-Warner in 1982. Borg-Warner and the Speedway decided a larger security patrol should take responsibility for the trophy during the month of May. Today, with the added base, the trophy weighs about 110 pounds. Join us as we celebrate 70 years together working for you on May 30th at 7 p.m. Our 1-hour anniversary special featuring RTV6 staff past and present. And you can check out more stories from the archives right now at theindychannel.com/70 years. Now, here's Dave.
Guys, thanks. Another Carb Day in the books, and really the fun had only just begun after that final practice before the race on Sunday. A crazy Freedom 100 for the Indy Lights Series and an upset in the pit stop competition. Could it be a sign for Sunday? And the news at 11 continues.
Honda. The only name you need to know.
Carb Day at the track and a wild crash and a wild finish for the Indy Lights Series. That's David Malukas and USAC star Chris Windham getting caught up on the first lap in turn 4. What a hit for both. Remarkably both okay, including Windham, who continues his busy USAC schedule this weekend. Here's the finish. Oliver Askew over Ryan Norman by 64 ten-thousandths of a second. Askew winning the Freedom 100 and the pit stop competition. Money on the line, a field of 11, whittled down here to the final. Scott Dixon's crew against Marcus Erickson's crew. Dixon there on the left. These guys are the best in town, known as the Wolf Pack, but beat by the Arrow Schmidt-Peterson guys. Oh, and there was much rejoicing. Quick six from the final practice. Our driver analyst, Tony Kanaan, leading the way. How about 3 Dale coin cars in the mix? We'll see who was showing all their cards and who wasn't on Sunday. Well, good evening. It all culminates Sunday with the 103rd running of the Indianapolis 500. And at some point, you'll focus on Team Penske Sunday. Roger going for a record 18th win in the 500, but perhaps one of his proudest moments, the year he snookered the field with his pushrod engine, now 25 years ago. You don't have to look hard to find Roger Penske and Al Unser Jr. these days. They continue to play prominent roles in a sport synonymous with their presence. And both will be forever connected by one of the most famous engines in Speedway history. When you heard about this engine, were you like, holy cow, we're going to dominate this thing? Or was it like, man, we're going out on a limb here?
I had mixed feelings about it, to be truthful. You know, it was high risk. Those were high risk stakes.
That was probably, when I go back, just the execution of that whole thing with Ilmore, to think about we could design an engine, come to the Speedway, and execute and win. And it's one of my favorite times.
The engine was this, built by Ilmore in England, but branded by Mercedes-Benz, known as the 209 or the pushrod engine. But the design of it, as secretive as it got.
I had my dad and my Uncle Bobby in my motorhome at the Phoenix race, okay? And they're going, tell us about this engine. And I'm going, I can't.
I remember we announced it 1 week before the Speedway opened. Yeah. So I told our guys, if you talk about this, it's like cutting off your paycheck. So everybody kept it under wraps.
It made its Speedway debut right on time, opening day, but only Emerson Fittipaldi and Paul Tracy were on hand. Al Unser Jr. and the Penske engineers were at the Michigan Speedway testing its reliability, trying to fine-tune a power plant which took advantage of areas in the rule book and produced a rumored 1,000 horsepower.
The engine did not complete 500 miles at Michigan until opening day of practice at Indy. You had Paul and Emerson at Indy bringing the car out opening day, and that's where really the world found out about the 209. I'm at Michigan trying to do 500 miles, and we finally did it that day.
The rest truly is history. Ebo turned to practice speed at 230.8 miles an hour. Little Al won pole that year with a 4-lap average of 228.
What I think about it now is if there was social media today, then it wouldn't have been a secret at all. We would have been toast right away.
And on race day, the Penske's dominated. Emo led 145 laps before making contact with the wall in turn 4, and Little Al took over from there.
And the checkered flag is there for Al Unser Jr.
A legendary year and moment, the day Penske power ruled at Indy.
Dave, anytime you do well at Indy, you know, successful like that, it's a great day. I knew right then this was something special, and then to be with Roger, who makes it special.
Quite a year. We'll end on this, a sign of the Penske portfolio. This past offseason, Roger posing with all of his baby Borg trophies lined up, picture perfect, all 17 representing his 17 Indy wins. Sunday going for 18. Have a great race weekend. The News at 11 continues after that.
You need to know.
At Martin.com.
Monday on Good Morning Indiana.
Your Memorial Day holiday keeps the warmth around, but with that warmth also comes a shower chance.
And we'll be honoring your Hoosier heroes for Memorial Day. Join us from 4:30 to 7.
And we're heading into the weekend with some heat. High temperature 86 tomorrow. Chance for some afternoon and evening storms. And then Sunday, we'll have some rounds, a few showers and storms in the morning, a few more as we head into the evening. Small chance on Monday.
And a reminder, we'll see you early on Sunday morning for breakfast at the Brickyard starting at 5 a.m.
A lot to look forward to. Hope you join us. Have a good night.
Have a good night.